What is heroin usage and why is it so often used? Heroin is a drug derived from others. What drug makers will do is they will take opium, which is a plant, and plant it in the field, and then they'll grow it and they'll harvest it. They'll take the opium seeds, called opioids, and they will squeeze them until they get the juices out of them, and they will get a milky white substance. This milky white substance will then be concentrated down into morphine. Morphine is used all around the world as a painkiller for internal illnesses or physical ailments, like maybe you fell down the stairs and you broke your arm, and it's used as a painkiller. Morphine will then be even more concentrated into heroin. Heroin is a drug, and people take it because maybe they feel physical pain or internal pain, or they are so addicted to morphine, but then they can't feel the high from that anymore. So they go move on to heroin. Heroin is not a starter drug. Its users come from other drugs. They may start off on tobacco or marijuana or alcohol. Once they are not getting the high that they feel that they need from the tobacco, marijuana, or alcohol, they'll move on to heroin, or maybe first they'll move on to prescription pills because they were sick for a long time and they were hurting bad. Maybe they just had a back surgery and they were prescribed these morphine pills, and then they are no longer have the actual pain, but they like the high that they got from these morphine pills, so they'll move on to heroin, which is a more prevalent form of it on the streets. They will not, sometimes they might not be getting high enough from the marijuana or from the morphine, so they'll move on to heroin also. Heroin's appearance is improving. People used to think of heroin as this dirty drug where you'd see people in the streets, like in dark alleyways, where there'd be a homeless person maybe buying it from a person in a big dark cloak, and they're hiding it in the night, and they're trading needles and bunches of money. But that's not the case of how people see it anymore. People see it as a drug to be snorted or eaten or smoked. And kids are much more likely to snort, eat, or smoke a drug than they are to inject it. Kids don't really like needles, but they say, hey, people, it's just like smoking a cigarette. It can't be that bad for you. People smoke cigarettes all the time. Or people smoke marijuana all the time, and they're just fine. And marijuana is just fine for you, is what they'll say, to justify themselves doing it. But in reality, heroin is much worse.